And so Tom Cruise, being, polite, was walking right by him. And so he stuck his head down and goes, "How you doing? I'm Tom." So anybody who worked in film in Baton Rouge 10, 15 years ago knew Michael Russo. Okay. Sound guy, had a company here called Building Studios, which I know you're aware of. Building back then did a lot of folding, so they did a whole lot of like sound effects, and, it was like the golden age of radio when you walked in there. Sometimes I'd walk in, I'd be upset because they had a kiddie pool full of mud because they wanted to recreate the sound of somebody walking through the swamp. That was a mess. That said, Russo was just this character. And I always tell people that, like, he is what I consider the epitome of self-confidence, okay? And I don't think he would mind me telling us or whatever, but his sense of humor and his self-confidence were enough that, I don't know, would you say maybe he's objectively a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10? We used to joke and say he was held together by nicotine and tattoo ink, But really, he's held together by self-confidence and a sense of humor, right? And anyway, Russo consistently had women that were 9s and 10s throwing themselves at him. True story. He had no problem with ladies, but it was just this pure self-confidence that he had. I mean, just to set it up of like who he is and what he did. So one day when Oblivion was shooting here, Tom Cruise had to come into the O'Connor building where Russo's office is to do some ADR, right? And, Tom Cruise is like always in a hurry, man. He's like kind of speed walking, kind of power walking, right? And he was on his way in to knock that out. And Russo just happened to be standing outside the front door of the O'Connor building smoking a cigarette, right? And so Tom Cruise, being, polite, like, was walking right by him. And so he stuck his head down and goes, "How you doing? I'm Tom." Right? Russo took a drag on a cigarette and goes, "Russo." Shook his hand. And then Tom Cruise looked at me and goes, "Those things will kill you." Russo took another drag. "Thanks, Tom Cruise." Tom Cruise, just like when I was away, came in, did his ADR, but like everybody was just dying out laughing that he would take a drag off a cigarette and go, "Thanks, Tom Cruise." So I guess the point was that it ended up being this almost an expression like, "Thanks, Captain Obvious." Whatever, So people would say, "Thanks, Tom Cruise." But that was Russo. And honestly, like, I always use him as an example of just confidence. I mean, confidence is key. I mean, Russo is the embodiment of self-confidence. Yeah. Because he knows of intelligence. It's a very reason.